Шановні колеги,
Dear colleagues,
шановні присутні, дозвольте вам представити спікерів.
dear audience, I would like to introduce the speakers of our political panel. Oh, I don't know what's the right name for this. It's political dialogue. Here we have Roman Slastyon, who is the General Director of the Association Ukrainian Club of Agrarian Business, and Olana Zhupina. She is the key representative of the AVM Association, and she is also a Ukrainian expert in milk, milk products, milk processing, and everything that is related to milk. Olana is a guru in this issue. Our political panel, unfortunately, lacks representatives of ministries for us to be able to voice our challenges. But today, there is only you, Marina, and I think you have a chance to become a historical figure because you participate in the launching of the law on organic issues in Ukraine. It has already been mentioned today that the law was initiated about 10 years ago, and you probably will be the one who will be implementing the law. And we do hope that if you manage to do it, you will be eating only organic products. So we shall discuss lots of issues during this panel, and you will probably note things down, and then you come back to the ministry and you say, you inform the representatives of the ministries what the agrarians need today. We should be united. The ministries come and go, but such people as you and me, all of us, may launch this historical process. So I hope you agree with me and Marina. We all look at you and we all rely on you regarding delivering our messages to the ministry. Before I give the floor to our distinguished experts, I would like to mention a couple of words on my part as a producer. I have identified the challenges which are related to the branches of power and which can be addressed and resolved only with participation of our authorities. So I would like to briefly describe these issues, and in case you have some specific issues, we are also going to mention it, but on the basis of those I have identified, I'll try to build a dialogue. I am related to 3 enterprises that function in the area of organic production, and they all face global problems, global challenges. Unfortunately, there is no mic. We also have another participant of our panel, Anastasia. And you'll try to ensure this interaction between different sectors. And we also try to integrate our sector into other business associations. Certainly, we all face similar challenges and problems. And now I would like to voice the first challenge. You know probably that our company, Organic Milk, has been present in the market for 9 years already, and with the beginning of war, we all faced some challenges. We have never been actually thinking about the European market, so we didn't have any ideas about us going there. But war made us think about these markets because the markets have become narrower. We started thinking about Europe. It was a long way for us, a complicated way for us.
Леночка, поможи мені з цим справитися. Ви ж на мене дивишся. О, можна ще раз, да? Щось. Отож, бо ми пройшли довгий і тяжкий шлях, поки ми
So
зробили
once again, it was a long period for us. We were thinking how we can get to the European market. But we managed to do it. We managed to go to the European market, Polish in particular, and people were even laughing at us. Just bringing milk to Poland is similar to bringing coal to Newcastle. And I'm really proud of us doing it, and I do hope we'll make some progress. But currently, we face a huge challenge. Milk market in Europe has decreased, and with the price that we entered the Polish market, resulted in the situation that the market has dropped, the prices have dropped about 30%, and we are not competitive at all. Why aren't we competitive? Whether the raw material is expensive or something else, it may be discussed, but this is the issue number one. I don't know whether I will be supported by my colleagues, but whether the prices we have are not competitive at the European market at all due to their high self-cost. And this is a huge challenge for the dairy market. The next challenge, and it is probably not only for the milk industry, but also for some industries, but for milk industry, it will be one of the primary issues. So first of all, we cannot export our products because we do not have a good price. And also in the shelves of our supermarkets, we have lots of Polish milk products, and the price for these products is about 20 or even 30% lower than that offered by us. And we are not talking about the margin 20 or 30%. The margin is actually very small. It's just about cost effectiveness, but we cannot compete with our Polish competitors because their prices are lower. And what do we have as a result? We do not have export because our prices are not competitive, and we also cannot feel free on the internal market because organic milk products are brought by our retailers, and it is cheaper, much cheaper. A couple of weeks ago, I talked to a FOSE representative, and I offered new kind of cheese. I said I want 280 hryvnias for a kilo, and he said, "Wow, this is stupid. I brought cheese from Poland for 220 hryvnias." And it's really painful. We are not needed abroad, and we have huge challenges here. on the internal market. So Marina, please put it down, because this may result in a huge crash for our organic producers. We also have organic meat product. Currently, this is the only enterprise in Ukraine producing organic meat products. And even more, there are not many such enterprises in Europe. You cannot find lots of kinds of organic sausages in Europe. This is complicated production, yes. And I have requests from my foreign partners, for example, from the US, who request these organic sausages. I'll freeze it, I'll bring it to America, and I'm going to send it. Okay, you may take it, but we have what we have. We do not have a developed intergovernmental mechanism of export of meat products. We do not have it. We cannot sell it. And I'm talking about Ukraine, the country in the center of Europe that cannot sell its meat products to any other country of the world. This is a global challenge. Again, the Ukrainian market has shown some decrease. Unfortunately, lots of people in Ukraine are beyond the middle class margin. They buy milk, they buy some basic food products, but when it goes about sausage, it's not probably the basic product, and therefore the sales have dropped at least 30 or 40%. And it means there is no ways for us to develop. The Ukrainian market has dropped. It's very difficult to organize sales. The purchasing power of people is also very low, and we cannot export our products. So this is a huge problematic issue. We have the enterprise that produces organic eggs. It was founded 2 years ago, and thanks God, but well, not thanks God, but the prices on eggs are high. The eggs are demanded by the Ukrainian market. The eggs are sold in the Ukrainian market. So everything seems to be fine. No way. Our authorities, our lawmakers have come up with the following plan. Since January 1st, 2022, agricultural products produced by poultry enterprises cannot be taxpayers of the fourth group. So the poultry business cannot belong to the taxpayers of the fourth group. I'm not sure who the lawmakers were fighting against, probably one of our oligarchs, but you cannot place the same in everybody into the same category, general taxation. And it's logical that some small poultry enterprise cannot survive. Okay, for organic industry, we are not small because we have some industry, we keep our poultry, our chickens and hens, but okay, I have 20,000 birds. Let's say in chemical-oriented enterprises, there are about 70,000. And for example, I also have some grasslands for my birds. It's expensive. It takes money. And I cannot actually fight this law. I do not know how to do it. So this is another huge problem for us. So it's about all those who are involved in poultry business. So here you see 3 companies and 3 global challenges. I think they are similar for all agrarians. What we are going to do, I don't know. Probably we can come to some similar to some common or joint solutions. But now I would like to give the mic to you, Roman, and I would ask you to share with us your challenges, and probably you may mention whether you face similar challenges and whether these challenges are topical for your association. Well, the problems are the same, 100%. Probably you have a bit more because you also have this organic component and the necessity to enter the markets to show and prove added value of these products, and undoubtedly it is much more complicated than our situation. Once again, we are facing the same challenges. First of all, we are talking about access to funding. This is something we have discussed today, and that's good that we managed to get a prolongation of this 579 program. It was prolonged. There are some new conditions, but, well, it's already a plus for us. And the donors actually provide a lot of things. So it's not like putting taxes from one pocket into the other. This is something we hear when we communicate to our European colleagues. They often ask how we can help. So here is the option. That's good that now this mechanism has been launched. My association, as a role, represents bigger players. We have a bit more than 120 members in our association, and we have producers involved in growing plants or animals, and they have lots of hectares of land. Also, we have suppliers of fertilizers, pesticides, seeds. So all players related to agricultural business. And we actually wanted to increase the limits for credits. So now it's 90 million, and the ministry offered the figure to be 180 million. And for the company owning up to 15,000 of hectares, this amount will be good. For smaller companies, definitely they also need funding, but they find some other ways. Okay, there is external funding, and the issue is that the interest rate should be affordable. Definitely, we can talk separately about our areas. With some areas, the situation is better. With some areas, the situation is worse. But I think that the bigger difference is with breakdown for the regions. For example, you cannot compare Lviv region and Kherson region. And one of the most painful issues we face now is the occupied territories in Mykolaiv, Kherson, and Kharkiv region. We should assist people with restoration efforts. We should make these areas live again because their situation is really very complicated. We definitely can compare their situation with the situation of people who are now in the occupied territories. But this is the second issue, which is important for all of us. We have to assist these people. Unfortunately, the accredited organizations cannot do it alone. I'm talking about those organizations that can do demining, so their capacities are not enough, but the sowing period is there, and people go to the fields, and well, let's hope that people will not face lots of risks. So this is again the issue of aid given by the state and by the donors. So now we are talking about if the compensation program or, for example, the payment deferral program. For example, examination of fields should be introduced. For example, if the field is mined or not mined, but it presupposes some money. It presupposes lots of things. And the idea is that we have to promote this idea. And this is something I would like to ask you. Please join us. The more people will talk about the same things and the same solutions, the better. One thing is to voice the problem, another thing is to offer solutions. Yes, for example, when we have requests from the European donors, we should not just say, give us 10,000 demining machines because they have to make up a plan and then we'll probably get them in a couple of years. But so far we won't have anything. Right now, these are people with manual demining devices go to the field in order to clean these lands and bring them back to agriculture.
Говорили про податкові наші постійно зміни. Якщо
The
не раз
issues that have been mentioned about the fiscal issues, maybe we have discussed it for many times already, but those are the issues as well, the issues on the certain tax, well, at least providing some kind of a fiscal discounts. The fiscal discounts for the territories, for the deoccupied territories and currently occupied territories where the military action took place. There was a year already when our parliament has provided the minimum tax discounts for this territories. And if, for example, you are renting out the municipally owned land, if not being processed, then you cannot pay the rent for that as well. That has been a year already since this moment when this legislation has been approved. The government is still discussing which of the ministries should be undermining this, would be defining what other territories are. Like, for example, the Kiev region, where we are under occupation on now. So it's an important issue that has to be resolved. There has been the whole story that the cabinet of ministries who said that we're not going to be identifying the list. We will give you the order of how it can be identified, so the Ministry of the Reintegration of the territories can identify themselves. Yes, but we need to have a corresponding law, like, for example, not the cabinet of ministries identified it by, that is defined by the order that has been identified by this report. We have this communication with Danilo Hetmantsev on how this legislation should be approved and who should be providing the discounted period for the land users for the certain period of time on the certain territories. But for example, we are right now having this Congress, but there is another Congress, for example, in about the fiscal reform. So again, I think maybe you have heard like that is called like everything for 10%. And because it's also being prepared, maybe you have heard about that. Yes, it would have been nice, but like from 17 till 10, that would be very good as well. But the worst thing is that they're only being broadcasting this nice part of this reform as if, like, for example, making the VAT, and the personal income tax lower. But the bad part is the bad part that's not being mentioned. That is also the bad part for the agricultural producers, because what has been offered is once again not to compensate the VAT. So there was once again the story being worked, and also for the introduction of the export fee for the raw commodity. And no one will make a difference whether it's the conventional or organic corn. So those are the realities, those are the initiatives that we're going to be dealing with, and I understand that we're going to be facing them as well. Moreover, it is presupposes that we're going to take the unified tax of the group number 4. So we're going to start to have to pay over all the income tax. So, okay, then have nothing else to fight with, right? Yeah, so there are some issues and some discussions that have to be discussed as well. But you hope that the reason is going to win and to take the lead in this case, and we will be able also to have some words to say in this discussion as well. Because just to give it all, saying that we're going to approve some kind of legislation and we have billions and billions of investment, that doesn't work this way. We understand that it's not just because of our income tax like 15 or 18%. No, it's not just the only reason why we don't have the investment available. There's a lot of other reasons as well. There's a lot of issues that we can talk, and I can talk for hours, but I will pass the floor to other speakers as well. Yes, I wanted to outline that, yes, the global problems that we currently have in the war, then I think that we can now divide our problems in these two parts, the one that have been caused by the war and the problems that we have overall, even without the war as well. Because right now we have a lot of people from the agricultural sector who have been affected in the temporarily occupied and the already deoccupied regions. So I think that the problems that I'm going to be voicing out, they're going to sound as the one that are really not that important when we compare it to the people's life. But we need to support economy. We need to develop ourselves and keep on moving on to build a very strong state. So all of the questions are very important right now. And all of it, yes, Marino, you can take notes that what we need to do, we need to lobby all of the interest of our interpreters and entrepreneurs as well. So thank you. Do we have any questions for Roman? And unfortunately, we can't hear the questions without the mic.
Ну, дивіться, власне. Розглядається. Зараз є от законопроект.
We're considering that, and right now we have a draft law that also should take down the tax for the forest group entrepreneurs for the territories where they had military actions took place. So when this law is going to be approved, there's going to be two components for how the taxation is going to take place on the deoccupied territories. So there is the minimum fiscal requirement that has been introduced already. So there will going to be a discount for the paying of the land tax and for the fourth group of the sole entrepreneurship. And there's also the rent payment for the land in the municipal or public use. So that would be another factor that has to be simplified and facilitated with the fiscal law. So the year has already passed, and we do hope, and it's going to be just the first anniversary of this law that has been approved, we do hope that the mechanism is going to be created as well. Because before that, you either needed to pay or waited for the additional fines to be and penalties to be applied because you're not paying. And again, unfortunately, without the mic, we cannot hear what the public is saying. So it is possible. Overall, the mechanism is present. So it is about property. It is about property of the collaborating company.
Це є. Я не готовий зараз відповісти. Я думаю, що це питання, яке буде
We have
наступне.
this. I don't know how to answer that. I think that will be the question that we will cover next. So yes, we will be able, first of all, to free the territories, and then we will think of how we should deal with that. So yes, by the way, we've raised this question from our side as well, because there is a prohibition for the non-residents to have the agricultural land in your property. So even, for example, if you have received it as inheritance, you can receive it as an inheritance, but you will have to sell it to the citizen of Ukraine if you're not a resident of Ukraine. But for example, we don't have these regulations when we're talking not about the land that has an agricultural use. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Roman, for the questions too. We have more questions to Roman, because I think that it's high time for us to pass the floor to Olana. And we would like to ask her to also talk to us about the problem of the pricing. And when we're talking about mostly the pricings that we can see right now in dairy sector and what is going on in the European market, what's going on with the pricing there, and what it is that we're going to do concerning that. So Olana, please, the floor is yours. Okay, let us start with what we have in Ukraine And then we will get to Europe as well. So when we're speaking about the dairy sector in Ukraine, and we know that it has been in a crisis for more than 25 years, and we can say about it from the moment that we regained our independence. Since the moment of independence, first of all, the cattle breeding has been one of the first sectors that the farms decided to let go. And if, for example, when we're talking about the 1990, Ukraine was in top 10 countries on the milk production all over the world, then right now we are already, we can boast our position after 50. Unfortunately, the military, the war has all impacted at our dairy production as well. We have most of the regions that provided 10 out of 24 regions have either been occupied or have been affected by the military regions, or are there 43% of milk has been created in Kiev, Chernihiv, and Kharkiv region. And I wanted to say that Kharkiv region has now decreased the production of milk by 57% in the overall production. As the result of that, we have lost 38 processing factories, and those were the factories that have processed more than 100 tons of milk each. We have fully lost or partly lost 100 milk and dairy farms. Those were dairy farms that had more than 300 cows and more. In Kharkiv region and in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson region, we have significant losses. We have lost dairy farms who had more than 3,000 animals. The processing, as we have seen that in 2022, have lost 1 million ton of milk, and in order, as the exports evaluation, according to the exports evaluation, in order to restore the potential, our dairy sector will require up to $1 billion of investment. We do understand all of the difficulties and challenges. As an association of the dairy productions, we've tried to support all of not just the members of the associations, but everyone who have worked in the dairy market, in the dairy sectors, in the deoccupied regions. We have provided the humanitarian support together with the Ukrainian Agricultural Council, with the USAID, with the Survey Foundation. So we have been providing the aid for more than 200 farms. We have been providing all of the needed materials for vaccination, veterinary medicines when needed, the hygiene measures, the feed. So we have to understand that when the farms have been deoccupied, we just have to have a clearer understanding that they've had nothing. The best thing, they've had wounded animals. They didn't have the feed. In Chernihiv and Sumy regions, they haven't occupied those territories for a longer period of time. But for example, the Kharkiv region, right now, that is a very, very challenging situation, and the challenging situation continues. And I want to support Roman when he said that, because even those farms that were able to preserve the certain amount of their animals, unfortunately, right now, their fields are being now covered with the leftovers of armor, and they're not sure that they will be able to provide enough feed for their animals for the next years to come. So the situation can even be worse than it is right now when we're talking about the dairy production of Ukraine right now. Moreover, our association has worked as the aid center. We've helped the farms with the questions of booking, on finding additional new supply and the sales chains. So we have to understand that on the 25th, 26th of February, a lot of enterprises, they have just said we're stopped. We're not going to be working with milk no more. And what a farm should do if they have 20 tons daily, like, or you can just, give this milk one to your population in the first day. The second day, you're going to just spill it out. And then on the day 3, you will have to start thinking about something. So we have redirected the milk, and we're really happy and really grateful to all of our agricultural enterprises that under these harsh conditions were able to establish the quick processing and were able to feed the population of their regions, especially if we're talking about Chernihiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv region, when there were small enterprises that have been created in the framework of the enterprise, in the framework of the farm. And they've been providing the sour cream, providing cheese, providing milk for the population of the local communities because there was no other products available. And the farms that were able to provide the milk production to bake bread, and they were also able to provide even the meat for the local communities. And then let's get back to the question that Olana has posed about what it is that we should wait, what it is that we should look for. Let us say like this. So the European market of dairy products, it started to overheat in the very end of 2021, but at the very beginning 2022 was overheat with the pricing. What it was connected to? First of all, it was connected to droughts. There have been multiple droughts in year 2021, but the spring and the beginning of summer 2022 was really dry. The scales of the milk production in Europe have decreased, and the price for the raw milk in the market has shown the overall increase in 50%. So if we will track the cost of milk, the price for milk starting from 2010 to 2020, then we will say that there will be 35, 37 euro cents. July 2022, the price of milk was 60 euro cents. So the high price for milk, the high price for the processed products, moreover, during the summer and autumn periods, we have also seen the increase of prices for the energy carriers in Europe, and of course the inflation, which all of it has held back the buying capacities of the customers, and the European Union countries, they are the exporting leaders in dairy products, and they have been mostly working with the Chinese markets. And right now, that this year, Chinese market is not procuring their dairy products in European market. That's connected to two reasons as well. First of all, the production of the raw milk is growing in China itself. And the second reason is that all of the processes through COVID that were held in COVID are also have decreased the consumption of the milk products in China. All of the additional milk has been processed to a dry milk in China itself. So China does not require additional milk from Europe, which actually caused the tremendous growth in price for milk, but in the same time, the decrease of pricing as well. So the price for raw milk, it spots. If we're talking about in February, we have seen this in the Baltics and in Poland, that it was like 29, 30 cents per liter. So right now we can see that on the spot prices in Germany, in France, in Denmark. And of course, for our milk farms and dairy farms, it's going to be really complicated. It's going to be really hard for, again, to enter the European market as we did it before. And it's going to be hard for them to work in the domestic market as well, because those products are going to be cheaper. So starting, if, for example, from February 22 to February 23, we didn't have the imports of butter, or we didn't have the cheese imports due to the reactions and due to the high prices. So right now, that's vice versa. All of the storages are being now sold out, and the Polish producers, they have thought that they will establish the contracting prices and the reservation process, but right now no one is contracting or reserving anything, so they have a lot of leftovers, and there's going to be definitely pressuring both the raw milk market and the final product price as well. So what we're expecting to see the decrease of prices for milk in Ukraine as well. But what it is that you have to do, and the slides doesn't seem to work. As the slide, yes. So what it is that has to be done? The practice has shown that in order to grow and increase production, we need to grow the demand. And in our case, we're talking about the restoring the demand. At the very beginning of my presentations, I've said that Ukraine during 1990s was in top 10 countries on milk production. So that was the very same years when we were the leaders in consumption of the dairy products as well. In 1995, the average consumption of milk for one per capita in Ukraine was 384 kilograms of milk. So right now we have 198 kilograms of milk that's being consumed per capita. That's even lower than the sanitary norm. That is lower than what the person should consume in dairy products for their body to function properly. And this is the lowest indicator, or that's the lowest indicator in Europe. And we're not counting in Russia. But if we're speaking about the European countries, this is the lowest indicator. So right now, when we're talking about the organic milk or conventional milk, what we have to do is we have to win our customers back. One of the draft laws that has been developed in the Dairy Association of Ukraine, the one that has been already supported, that has been analyzed in the Agricultural Committee. It is about the decreasing the overall fee of a milk and dairy project up till 10%. So we have believed that it's an important step because the overall VAT tax decrease of the VAT has stimulated the growth of the demand. Like, for example, Poland has had the VAT tax on dairy products up to 0 just to make their dairy products more affordable. And right now, what they have already stated that in year 2022, that was the first time that they didn't have this downfall, even though there were high prices, but they didn't have it due to the two reasons. The first of all, they have decreased the VAT tax for dairy products to up to 0. And the second moment is that they have used also the Ukrainian refugees. For us, there was vice versa. We have lost the people who have fled. We have a decrease in the consumption of the dairy products compared to 2021. We have spoken a lot that we need to promote the products, we need to talk to the children in the school, we need to do a lot of public hearings, we need to provide the research that is needed, because unfortunately, right now, whatever you're starting to read, and basically that milk is made out of poison. So there's a lot of people who are thinking about the lactoses and lactose, because we all are mammals and we all using milk. We understand the government doesn't have these funds. Well, talking about grants, if some work is done in the efforts to bring Ukrainian legislation in line with the European one, then we offered a draft law on promoting milk products and innovations. The draft law has already been approved in the Agrarian Committee, and we hope it will be passed by the Parliament. What shall we have as a result? This is a model similar to commodity takeoff, American or Canadian programs. One business
allocates some amount of money to promoting something, to promoting some products. For example, if we take the US, then according to their recent report, $1 invested into this program actually brought 2.7 American dollars. Great investment. Another important draft law, the law of Ukraine on trade networks. This is the law which probably brings together all the producers, not only from the food industry, because the conditions of retail, taking into account the problems with working capital and all the other issues, so all the challenges are really complicated. Therefore, the draft law sets the terms, not 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, and 1 year. But if we are talking about dairy products and its shelf life, it's about 10 days. It means in 20 days, you're supposed to get paid for this. And now everybody from retail know how much the meter from shelf costs, what is the bonus system, what are marketing campaigns, and all this stuff. Apart from this, understanding that during post-war period, we'll have to be quick in restoring whatever was lost during the war, we try to update state construction norms, because the norms that are used nowadays presuppose that we might be waiting for permits for many years. Moreover, if you would like to build something using innovative methods, it means that your project probably will be doomed for failure from the very beginning. So the changes, this norm is also one of the top items on our agenda. And we all understand that we have faced challenges with human resources even before the war. In post-war period, the situation is going to be even more complicated. Lots of people have left Ukraine, not all of them will come back, and a lot of people joined the army. So developing our human resources, new methods, new training programs will be really important. And I think this problem is common for many industries and for many sectors. And I think in future, the problems will even get worse. And another issue we are discussing nowadays is the issue of broad partnership. This is cooperation and between different industries and different sectors. We all face the same challenge. We have to rebuild and restore our country, and our country has to be better. Everybody understands that the sacrifices we have made require from us making our country prosperous. And this is something we do within our association. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much. This is a very interesting draft law. Probably we also should think about something similar. We have been given recommendation to advertise ourselves. So probably we, the representatives of organic industry, will get united and do something about it. Because, well, you have to rescue yourself with your own efforts. So it's really interesting, and we'll be grateful if you share with us your experience. We actually may think how we can integrate this draft law into organic industry. A lot depends on us. We actually may involve and engage our foreign partners we do have some funds being given to us. Probably let's allocate at least some part of it onto advertising. Well, we definitely take funds both from importers and from Ukrainian producers. So all those who bring foreign products to Ukraine have to pay the same money. Unfortunately, there is no mic.
А воно там органічне, у нас органічне молоко не є окремо.
Organic milk with us is not separate. It is included into reducing VAT rate and into intersectoral funding, and Elena knows about it. So unfortunately, there is no mic.
З мережами це окрема біда і
Well,
окрема біль.
chains and networks is a painful issue for us. And our price, our shelf price, consists of different bonuses, all the elements which are added not from our part, but on the retailer's part. They also provide their arguments, and we understand that without state regulation, we won't be able to clarify all this, because when we have a panel and both retailers and producers are invited, the panel is transformed into the real battle. And there are some producers who are afraid of quarreling with the retailers, so they mention some negative points, but they do not mention their names. To be honest, we are dependent on retailers. There are 3 or 4 retailers without whom we won't be able to survive. And I'll come back to milk sector. For example, ATB chain. I didn't plan to go to ATB, but I have to. And recently I have made a very interesting proposal and offer. It was a very interesting case. How, well, ATB is a discount store, so I made an offer how they can sell our products. And I got feedback. It was given.
Я
And I will tell you the truth. I have to spend 35% from my goods turnover just for the fact of being present in ATB. This is during the first 4 or 5 months. Then they will have review and they will probably change their decision. It depends on them. So 2 or 3 years ago, they actually invited me to join their chain, to join their network, and now, well, I have to go to them. These are the conditions, but how can the producer give them 35%? I put 10%, and then dreaming about having 6 or 7. Lots of expenses actually are addressed, but the inflation covers everything. So if you don't like it, bye-bye. We should not forget all these blackouts and how the self-cost has grown. And I'm not going to tell you how we brought and transported milk products under shelling, because it should have been sold fresh, and how we sold it on the street markets when the networks were closed because of blackout. So I'm not going to mention it, but this was the experience of ours. I would like to probably sum up. Our first big challenge is the war, which will be over with our victory, and it will be our victory, because without this, everything actually is on decrease. And the second point, we have to popularize healthy lifestyle, healthy nutrition, and milk that was consumed by our grandparents and our great-grandparents. And I remember my grandmother saying, so for example, if a mother is breastfeeding a child and the child has a runny nose, breast milk was used to just as drops for the nose. So we have to give this message, to deliver this message, but we should do it in cooperation with the state because our own efforts are not enough. We have to ensure the synergy between business and the state. I hope you will all agree with me that the state has a chance for the future only if the state has healthy population, healthy nation. Only having a healthy nation will be able to build a prosperous and very positive future for Ukraine. And there is no other way of doing it. I have not mentioned it on the slide, but now we start working on bringing back school milk program because we understand that the children children have deteriorated because of the war, and we are ready to support the program. So we are very active in this area and we are supported by the Ministry of Agriculture. We are very grateful for this. Now everybody understands that a glass of milk should be included into everyday diet of all the children. And by doing this, we'll bring up our future consumers. Thank you. Are there any questions to Olena? This is an exclusive opportunity. If you have any questions about milk, you're welcome, or you may approach our speaker after the panel. Thank you. Thank you, Olena. Dear colleagues, probably you would like to add something. Probably there is some other problems which have not been voiced today. So if we voice it, we'll be able probably to generate some solution. Yes, the political level is important, undoubtedly. Unfortunately, there is no mic.
Ну, ні, Олена розказала про рішення, в принципі.
Olena has mentioned a number of solutions, but if we ask Roman, well, we are not drastically different from something else. Organic products also belong to agriculture, and the challenges we have mentioned today are common challenges. So the problems he raised, the problem we raise are just the same. There is just one big problem. This is the war, but unfortunately, we, with our own efforts, won't be able to do something about it. We have to get united. Unfortunately, there is no mic.
Коли ми об'єднані багато це моя така політика. У нас сьогодні 3 чи 4 такі окремі напрямки організації, так? Хотілося б, щоб ми їх змогли об'єднати. Якраз сьогодні Україна об'єднала. Ми побачили, як піднявся весь люд від малого до великого, дітки маленькі, щось там б'яють, прийдуть, грають, дітки, об'єднати, а так? Плакать хочеться, так? Тому давайте ми це зробимо приклад з тих маленьких дітей. І будемо більше регулювати високі сьогодні. Пане Марини, наш АПК, на жаль, його розвалили, і це дуже прикро. Да, сьогодні навіть АПК, ви запитаєте, яке це вугілля робить? Ні, тут не ваша. Вона того тих попередників, що закрили, це треба в аграрній країні і думати, закрити Міністерство аграрної сільськогосподарської.
Ask the speaker to use the mic, please.
Контрабасами все. А ви подивіться, які розрахунки. Все по формі 2. Які податки? Це ми платимо податки, бо ми офіційно все продаємо. А інші на сайт заходиш, продаж зерна, все форма 2, форма 2, форма 2. А потім десь форма 1, а ні, ми накладемо. Питання дуже багато. Між іншим, з цим ніхто не бореться.
Абсолютно підтримую. Тут рішення воно просте. Це знову ж таки, чим більше
I fully
ми
agree with you, and we understand that the more we're going to talk about that, the more we're going to voice out those ideas as a unified opinion, as the unified solutions, then the more chances we have that we're going to be heard. That's quite easy. But yes, we have to stand united. We will have to find this joint solutions. As one of the solutions that have been presented, for example, with the draft law, the united stand. And unfortunately, the replic from the audience is not audible without the microphone.
Да. Є спеціально люди,
Yes, there are. We have people who are lobbying the interest of the dairy product, of the dairy producers, for sure.
Питання в тому, що ми дійсно маємо
The issue was that what we need to do right now is we have to learn how to study how to promote and lobby our interest inside of our state, inside of Ukraine, because I do believe that we're not far away from the times when we're going to become the members of the European Union. And then as a state, we're going to have to be lobbying the interest of our state as well. No one is going to give us nothing in the overall market unless we're going to voice out our interest as well. So when I was talking to my colleagues from Germany, from France, from other countries, what they're saying straight away that we have our office in the Brussels. So in Brussels, we have the office, we have 2 or 3 lawyers in the Brussels who are working on getting the quotas for us, we're getting the money for us. Because, for example, I'm not going to be speaking for the organic sector, I can only speak on the dairy sector overall. So, for example, if Poland has been working on the dairy issues, then in 5 years, starting from year 2013 up to 2018, they have received 29 billion euro of this technical support, of technical aid they have received for the dairy sector. But there was for dairy sector, for both the growing and the processing. So there's $29 billion of the support that should not be returned, but that's only because they have lobbied that. In the same time, there was also the Romania and Bulgaria and Hungary that has become the member of the European Union at the same time. And the Baltic countries have joined the European Union as well, but they've never received the same amount of support. So we need to learn how to lobby our interests as well, because if we will not learn how to do that, we will not be seen in the markets. Let us say we're not being expected there in the markets. Yes, and if we're now, we need to learn how to stand and how to protect our interests inside of Ukraine, and we have to learn how to deal and how to survive in the European market, because there's going to be completely different conditions. And especially for us, the European market is going to be open a little bit earlier than we're going to be the member of the European Union. So we have to start doing this now. And unfortunately, no mic is used again, so we cannot hear what is being said.
Використовувати максимально наявний потенціал.
If we're using the potential that we have, I do believe that if you will analyze your marketing budget, each and every one of you, and for example, if you will also consider if you have a specific provision on the trend promotion, the idea promotion, not just in promoting the product, but the idea. With it that you will be seeing that you have not invested anything into this idea promotion. But if to do that intentionally, then it works. And it's just about the time span of 3 years, you can change the trends. You can do that, and that's real. That's just the different amounts of allocation of the resources, that different way how you can going to be used. That's very effective if you know what is it that you want. If you're looking for the right people to support that, the one that professionally know the markets. And right now the chains, and I mean not the chains, but I mean the network, the web is giving us the opportunity to do that hasn't been available for us in 5-10 years ago. We can create a positive trends right now with a year. Yes, right you are. So that is why we need to think of how can we find this really good marketer for organic Ukraine, how we can find this and to lobby our interests as well is all of the directions with the social media, with media, because right now, yes, there's social media when you can already launch the organic trend there. So that's very important for us nowadays.
Недопрацювання брендів, не мої, як споживача.
Так, дякую. Хто доживе
Yes,
через
for example, if on the next panel, on the final moment when we're going to be also talking about the demand and the offer, when you have joined our today's Congress, you have chosen as well whether you provide the service or do you need some kind of service. You have already chosen this. So the most of the services that are being provided are the exports. So there is the most of the exporting organization, but what is the most needed service is the marketing services. So those are the most leading service. So you can see there's a lot of organization who can help you with the experts, but there's some that what is needed is marketing. They do not have it. I can ready to continue, but we will have to now already sum up. Yes, Anastasia, as an expert from marketing, can you also add something up? Yes, so maybe in organic or Ukraine, like I'm really been I really like the phrase that you have said. I'm responsible for the marketing in Arnica, and I've really liked the phrase, and it's really a pain point for me as well. So what you have said, that we have the resource that we are investing into the human resources and the promoting the trend, the brand, and understanding what Arnica is for the world. But I do understand that still, and I do believe, and maybe I can also say that we're not doing that enough. And I think that everyone should start doing that. And Organic Ukraine as association, as our main voice, maybe we can also uh, make our voice heard. Maybe we can create a committee so that we would join all of our efforts. So we will be able to join our European community, and maybe we will be also be able to continue this promotion of the Organic Ukraine trend and brand, because we don't have the idea of organic Ukraine as the trend, as the overall trend. Ukraine has set up a certain trend due to the war that is happening right now. We are also being this. So this organic Ukraine in action. So yes, we're underusing this news wave that we currently have. And as a company, we also join that, and we're trying to do everything that is in our power to promote Ukraine on the stage. And we would like to invite everyone to join us as well. Please make notes. If, for example, we have known and understood the role of Ukraine as an agricultural country in a good understanding of this word, due to our soils, because of our soils. But right now, what is the situation that we currently have in Ukrainian markets? We are importing technologies from all over the world for the Ukrainian soils. Can you imagine what kind of nonsense is that? Can you imagine what kind of technologies can be taken from abroad for those countries that are not aware of what the Black Earth is, what the peculiarities of the soil is, and we're exporting the technologies for the soil processing there? I do believe that it is nonsense. I think that it's a complex question. There's a lot of things that we can say about that, but what I wanted to mention about this as well. So you're talking about this trend, the trend of organic Ukraine as well. What we are talking about, we're talking about the export potential of Ukraine. Never in my life, I was surprised, but I have never heard that, like, for example, that technology can technology and, for example, the land processing technology can be exported from Ukraine, because I might be mistaken, but when we have the 90% of the Black Earth of the world have been processed by the Ukrainians, because of the when you have the Black Earth, we have Ukrainians, we have the Paraguay, we have Canada, we have the in the Far East, and in the later in South America, we have a lot of great potential of our land processing systems. And yes, of course, I'm like, no, not saying like to put the borders, but we need to have some Ukrainian trends that no one has even tried to share. Or let us say, not that just packed that into the right way and into the right branding, promoted that as well. Can you introduce yourself, please? I am the president of the Yaros company. I think that maybe you might have seen some of the ideas that's about our products on the orchids. Yes, I just bought it last week, the organic seed. That's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to get you acquainted. I am the president of the Yaros company. I am the owner of the company, and I'm the author of the product of Yaros. Yes, I really hope my orchids to be great. Yes, so right now I have been already provided my operational business to my son, who is old enough to know to do that. And right now I'm working within our R&D department. So I am thinking about what kind of a company we're going to be tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Okay, great. Thank you. I wanted just to note down, I was really surprised when a week ago in the epicenter shop. So Santa, I wanted to buy some fertilizer for my flowers, and then I've seen like organic standard, certified Yaros. That was very cool. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, okay. About the additional opportunities about the plants is going to be the next panel. So I would like to ask Olena maybe to close this panel already. You will thank you to our experts. Yes, thank you, Olena. Thank you, Roman. I do hope that everything that we have spoken about at this panel today will be real and is going to be born into this lovely child who is going to mature nicely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you